Every sunset gives us one day less to live. But every sunrise gives us one day more to hope. Long spells of droughts and heavy floods are increasingly leading to massive deaths of millions of livestock and wild animals in Kenya and the Great Horn of Africa. These are also wreaking havoc to agriculture and infrastructure that are the foundation of our economy. These are but a few of the early manifestations of climate change, which is caused by the accumulation in the atmosphere of greenhouse gas emissions such as carbon dioxide from human activity. Strategies aimed at mitigating climate change while simultaneously promoting sustainable and equitable development are urgently needed in vulnerable developing countries. Various human interventions for reducing greenhouse gas emissions from a wide range of sources like enhancing sinks for carbon dioxide exist. In Kenya, schools and small and medium enterprises, SMEs, most of which rely on fuel wood to feed thousands each day, have been spotted as the appropriate target where significant greenhouse emissions could be avoided and more absorbed by growing vegetation. Due to this realization, the Global Environment Facility (GEF) found it appropriate to fund the 4-year market transformation project that sought to remove market barriers to the wider adoption of improved cook stoves.
GEF is the Global Environmental Facility or Global Environment Fund, which is a fund that has been established to fund initiatives that protect the environment and ensure environmental sustainability. And for this project, they're aiming at reducing greenhouse gas emissions from the use of inefficient stoves. By bringing in efficient stoves, this means that the emission of greenhouse gases from institutions and homes is reduced. The second element of the global benefit is that trees also absorb carbon monoxide. Instead of it going to change the climate, the trees take it in. And by taking it in, that means we are reducing the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere.
Wood fuel, including charcoal and firewood, remain a key primary source of energy in Kenya. According to the National Bureau of Standards 2010, about 68% of the Kenyan population relies on firewood for energy, while up to 88% of the rural population uses firewood for cooking and heating. Other than rural households, other sectors that consume significant quantities of firewood and charcoal are the institutions like schools, hospitals, prisons, and small and medium-scale enterprises like hotels and restaurants. Learning institutions are recognized as a major fuel wood consumer. Kenya has about 73,000 educational institutions that includes schools and colleges. In addition to educational institutions, hospitals, prisons, and other communal institutions also use millions of tons of fuel wood, some of them having switched from the very expensive cooking gas or from other expensive petroleum products. Over 90% of these institutions rely exclusively on fuel wood for cooking and heating. With a total student enrollment of over 9.8 million in primary and secondary schools in Kenya, a total fuel wood demand of over 1.7 million tons per year is needed. Most of this fuel wood is harvested from state forests and dry bushlands. The environmental damage is significant, considering that the wood is harvested in bulk. That is, logging mature trees including the indigenous and threatened species such as camphor, cedar, meru oak and many other species. A survey done by the Rural Energy Technology Assistance Program RETAP in 2008 showed that most of the schools burn fuel wood in inefficient firewood and charcoal cooking stoves, thus generating high demand for fuel wood, which in turn exacerbates deforestation. These traditional cooking stoves also pose significant respiratory health risks for workers using them.
Ile jiko ya mawe tatu inakuwaga na shida mingi sana. Kwa mambo ya moshi unaweza kuwa na shida ya macho, mambo ya kukohoa, na tuseme kama maybe sababu hizo mingi, sababu ya nini, joto na kuni bado zinatumika mingi.
Cooking place would feel you don't want to eat their food. Either their hands were black because of the sufurias, the soot, or the sweat when they are cooking the ugali. You can imagine when they are bending and the sweat. So you can imagine how sweet the ugali was with all the sweat there.
Yeah, zamani uko kuhakisha hapo, ukitoka hapo ni moshi, unanuka moshi. Na hiyo chakula yenyewe hata itanuka moshi. Juu ukifunika si ile moshi na inaingia ndani.
Tulikuwa na jiko nyingi, sasa joto ilikuwa inakuwa mingi jikoni. Sasa kufanya kazi ilikuwa ni ngumu. Unaumwa na kichwa, kifua, complaints za wapishi. Kisha tena tulikuwa tunatumia makaa mingi. Moshi nayo ilikuwa inajaa, tulikuwa tunakuwa na kesi nyingi hapa na majirani kwa sababu ya hiyo.
Their eyelashes were not there. And the hair around the legs were all gone because of the direct heat from this three-stoned cooking place.
In an attempt to reduce use of fuel wood and enhance efficiency in use of biomass energy, Kenya has promoted a number of improved biomass conversion technologies. The renowned improved institutional cook stoves was introduced in the mid-1980s and has been hailed as Africa's most successful fuel-efficient stove program. By the year 2000, about 10 to 15% of educational institutions had switched from the traditional, inefficient open fire to improved institutional stoves. Local NGOs, development partners such as UNDP, GIZ and Kenyan entrepreneurs have also been at the forefront in promoting the development, dissemination and adoption of improved stoves technologies.
Ya kisasa hii, ukipika hata ukitoka hapo ukishatoa hizo apron, mtu hawezi jua kwa kama ulikuwa kwa jikoni unapika. Uko sawa tu. Jua unuki moshi. Haikusumbui, ukishawakisha kama tukifunika hawezi jua kama kuna moto inawaka hapa.
Hii ya kabai hii iko hapa inatumia kuni kidogo. Na hiyo nyingine inatumia kuni mingi na itabidi ukae hapo ili moto isizimike. Lakini ukiweka kuni mbili hiyo maneno inaisha. Hutakaa hapo unaendelea na kazi nyingine.
In ordinary cooking or using other ordinary methods of cooking, you find that the pot is heated just at the bottom level. But with this technology, you'll realize that the whole pot is suspended inside the heat. So it is heated on the bottom and all over the sides. So that makes the cooking time so fast, much faster than any other method of cooking, no matter the quantity, because again, the jikos come in different sizes. So all we make sure is that the firebox size, the inside size, corresponds to the diameter of the pot.
Zamani tulikuwa tunatumia moto, tunatumia gas na makaa. Na hii kandi kuni tunanunua, tuseme for example tunanunua hii kama mkono kido, hii kadi ya kufuta na mkono moja tunatumia wiki. Na before tulikuwa tunatumia makaa gunia kaa 6 na gasi mtu wiki moja kwa wiki. Kwa hivyo hii ni economical.
These cooking stoves consume only about 44% firewood compared to the traditional cooking stoves. Their benefits are numerable and range from health, hygiene, faster and timely cooking, energy saving, saving of our meager forests to huge financial savings for schools.
When we were using the jikos, the ordinary jikos, we used to use 2 bags every day of charcoal at 800 shillings each bag. That was around 1,600 every day. Today, I use only 300 firewood that will cost me 300 shillings a week, compared to the area scenario where I used to use 1,600 per day.
We are spending 25,000 Kenya shillings on firewood for 1 week. At the moment, with the energy saving jiko, we are using Kenya shillings 25,000 for 5 weeks, which is far much better than before.
At the national average cost of $33 per ton of fuel wood in 2010, this scenario implies an estimated annual saving of $1,240 for an average school on its fuel wood budget. These savings can go a long way in subsidizing other school programs like hiring an untrained teacher for a year at the cost of $100 per month, or buy at least 3 complete laboratory demonstration kits for $435 per term, or purchase of textbooks and other teaching material. Savings can even be higher when the school starts to supplement its supplies from the established fuel wood lots.
Per year, before we got the new stoves, we were spending 91,000. And now, with the new stoves, we are spending 26,000. The saving we have made, we have used it to employ more POG teachers to assist the student in the teaching staff. We have also improved the remuneration of the non-teaching staffs. We have bought a dairy animal which is giving milk that students are using and the teachers.
Once we realized that we are saving money from the stoves, we decided to build up another dome for the girls and also the school gate.
We didn't have the boiler, the water boiler, and you could go with the 3 lorries. But now, with the 3 lorries, we are using the boiler as well as the cooking. So effectively, we can say we are saving something like between 40 and 50%.
Improved cooking stove is made from a ceramic clay liner that has been designed so that the wood burns as efficiently as possible. It also gives the best size of door, firebox and pot rests. The door in the front lets in the right amount of air for proper circulation and combustion of fuel. The pot rests ensure that there is the right space between the top of the liner and the cooking pot so that air can also pass through there.
We use a non-corrosive material, which is stainless steel. Does not wear out with whatever. Even if you use acid, it doesn't wear out. So this gives the Gichuhi a very long durability. In the inside, we use the fire bricks or ordinary bricks as plastered with fire cement, which provides very good resistance to heat radiation. It retains the heat within the stove. Now the pot is made of stainless steel again. Now stainless steel is very durable. It cannot wear or tear. So this pot can be used for many years, without ever needing any repairs whatsoever, compared to the other ordinary sufurias that people use.
While there is a wide range of domestic stove producers ranging from large-scale producers to small-scale rural-based producers, there are relatively fewer producers of industrial cooking stoves like the institutional ones, partly because of the significantly high investments needed to produce them. Rural Technology Enterprise Limited is one of the producers.
We have enough manpower. Not only that, but we also have enough material in stock so that whenever orders come, they can be put on production immediately, and we are able to meet even very short delivery requests. Every time we install a stove, we ensure our trainers get there. They train the cooks. They also train other staff in the school for continuity, and that has helped preserve the Gichuhis, and the Gichuhis are able to give long service to the users. Then also we realize that in order to expand the concept of energy saving, when we would give the schools some seedlings to plant, in the hope that within the next maybe 6 to 7 years, they would be able to harvest their own firewood and therefore cut down on their firewood budget in the kitchen. And therefore those funds which they save from using the trees now, they can use it for other things for the school.
This wood lot belongs to this school, Sisoke Secondary School. I was motivated to start this lot because of the need for firewood, the need for timber to use in school as an income generating project, to sell the timber, to sell firewood to the neighboring schools and other institutions. And I was also motivated to start this wood lot as a microclimate setting in the school. One advantage I've seen with the eucalyptus grandis, it grows very fast, and when it is harvested, it regenerates, just as what you are seeing around here. We have harvested and you can see it is regenerating. So I will not need to purchase a new seedling again.
trees are sources of food.
Yes, they are sources of food.
We have 1,000 trees that have been planted together with the teachers. Everybody participates. The whole community of Nyana Hills participates in planting of trees. And we know that we'll benefit from getting firewood and even timber to extend the school.
The students are now embracing the concept of planting trees and the rest, because the whole world, it is everywhere. People want to go green. And the environment, when we have a positive aspect on the environment, it is also going to affect them in future.
To encourage schools to establish carbon sinks in form of woodlots, the Kenya government waived the value-added tax VAT, then at 16%, on institutional cooking stoves. These proceeds would then be used to purchase tree seedlings at the cost of 7 shillings per seedling for a school purchasing cook stoves. This money would be paid to the Tree Biotechnology Program Trust, TBPT, who would then process and deliver the orders to such schools countrywide.
And our law was one to provide quality tree seedlings for bioenergy for the schools which were in the project. Number 2 was to provide training to those who will be involved in establishment of the woodlots. Number 3 was to do site species matching so that we can give the right varieties of trees to a particular school depending on their geographical and ecological sites. And number 4 was to provide technical backstopping after the trees were established, so that we ensure that they have high survival and they are free from pests, so that they can grow in order to provide the energy that was planned.
We aim at engaging in mitigation activities, which are activities which ensure that we reduce inputs into production systems to produce more. And by reducing the amount of kuni, the amount of firewood going into cooking food, and it means this project cutting almost by 70–60% the amount of wood consumed. That means we are meeting our mitigation targets.
To further promote the adoption of these biomass energy technologies and ensure sustainable consumption of fuel wood, the Kenya government developed a progressive energy policy in the year 2004. Through the policy, Kenya recognized that biomass would continue to be the primary source of energy for the rural population and urban poor for as long as it would take to transform the rural economy and the informal sector from subsistence to a high-income economy capable of paying for modern energy. The policy talks of reversing the fuel wood supply-demand imbalance, restoring degraded forests, and providing affordable and efficient biomass energy technologies to both the rural and urban populations as key challenges in the biomass energy subsector. To address these challenges, the policy aims to increase the penetration of improved cooking stoves from 47% to 80% in urban areas by 2010 and to 100% by 2020.
During the 2010-2011 financial year, the government injected 10 million Kenya shillings for 24 schools. And we installed 48 stoves in total. Now, after installing those stoves, we realized just injecting the funds may not help much, and we needed to come up with an innovative way of ensuring that the stoves are adopted. And it was recommended that we come up with a legislation which will help to upscale the installation of these stoves.
To assist schools and enterprises overcome the barrier of high cost of the stove, which range between 100,000 to 350,000 shillings depending on the size, a local microfinance institution, Rural Energy Technology Assistance Program, RETAP, operates a revolving fund credit scheme targeting improved stove financing. Through this scheme, a stove is delivered to a purchasing institution and installed with no initial charges. 6 termly installments are then paid by the school to RETAP at a modest interest rate of a 2-year period.
About 14 million shillings was made available for the revolving fund, and that amount has had very significant multiplier effect, to the effect that the multiplier effect to date is about 145 million Kenya shillings in about 3,000 institutions.
Lack of proper and effective awareness among financial institutions and policymakers is also a critical challenge. Increase in various sensitization activities will enhance easy access by stoves producers and buyers to financial services.
We have been able to establish that it's possible to achieve a payback period of 3 years. Though this period can be less for the large population schools and maybe slightly more for the low population schools.
They didn't require any deposit. So they just delivered the Jiko and they requested us to pay pro rata over some time. And bearing in mind that it was during hard economic time after the post-election violence, we felt now these are the people to work with.
Tulikubaliana nilipe 10,000 a month na nikiona nimesidiwa na wapigia simu na waambia ile pesa naweza pata. Tukakubaliana by 3 years niwe nimemaliza kulipa.
For the financial institutions that are supporting, that are operating across the country, these are banks and others, they should tailor-make product packages that will enable institutions affordable credit to buy improved stoves from the various producers doing the stoves across the country.
The numerous improved stove promotions since the 1980s have significantly increased the level of awareness among school heads, mainly as a fuel saver. However, full benefits accruable from the proper use of improved stoves still remains a challenge to some institutions and enterprises. Other challenges are lack of funds, as most public institutions cannot afford a one-off payment for the stoves whose cost range from $1,200 to $2,500 per unit depending on the size, poor government policies and lengthy procurement processes among public institutions.
It is possible to save fuel wood amounting or the equivalent of over 1 million hectares of forests in a year if all the schools were to adopt improved institutional stoves.
Proper information to the general public, policymakers, development partners, institutions like hospitals, colleges, prisons, big, medium and small enterprises, improved institutional cook stoves usage in Kenya will increase, resulting in huge economic benefits and good practices in forest and environmental preservation. The dawn of a new day in Kenya is beckoning.
By putting money in GEF, in a common pot, we are able to do initiatives like this one. Even at country level, the development partners can put money in a common pot to realize these results.